Are we on?
Yes, Leonard.
Are we on?
We're on, Leonard.
Okay, that's all we wanted to know. Welcome aboard, everybody. Welcome aboard.
Is that it? Is that all your
That's
energy?
it. We'll see you tomorrow. Just got finished telling Andrea that I'm just not here today. But welcome aboard, everybody, on a lovely Friday morning. It is the legend and...
The lady.
And the lady.
Kinda.
Or the lady and the legend, okay? Yeah. Taking you till, who knows, 9:45, 10 o'clock. We'll see what happens.
Father and sons at the Field of Dreams.
Yeah, you know, they talk about the Field of Dreams game as the father and son thing, and Andy and I were at the Field of Dreams, not when there was a game. Why don't you tell everybody your feelings about being at the Field of Dreams?
I got a bunch of bug bites, remember?
Oh, that's right.
I mean, all of a sudden when we left, and there were bugs everywhere in that corn. And Lenny, you know, I think you had a better time than me. We both did some pitching. We both ran the bases, but there was a busload of senior citizens taking a trip to the Field of Dreams the same day that we came there. And Lenny was having an enjoyable time entertaining the seniors from the bus. He was talking to everybody, waving at everybody. They were all taking pictures with him, all the girls. You know, they told us there that the corn in the Field of Dreams is only used as animal feed. It's not actual corn, you know, that you would take home and eat.
Okay.
But last night I heard Drew Storen on a radio show. He was saying that he's making whiskey with the corn at the Field of Dreams. And it's doing a great... I mean, his whiskey business is successful.
Okay.
It just made me wonder. But anyway, of course, back to...
wonder.
Makes me wonder what they're using in the... Is it okay to use whiskey?
When I went to college in Indiana, okay, I went with about 6 or 7 other guys from... where I lived. We all went there because it was the only place we could get in. But we thought it was Indiana University. Turned out it was Indiana State before Larry Bird showed up. And we went out. We got a couple of cabs and we went. They grow a lot of corn there in Indiana. And sure enough, we came home.
With a whole bunch of corn.
With all a bunch of corn, thinking we were going to have like a barbecue and we were going to, you know, have a corn party. And the Hoosiers from Indiana could not stop laughing because it was feed corn. We had no idea. The Hicks from New York, we had no idea what we were doing. Feed corn, and that's my corn thing. But I will tell you, you know, they talk about the father and son thing. But, you know, in today's day, I'm disappointed because they leave out. I hear stories from Andrea about her playing Little League with her father. It's unbelievable.
We both played catch with our fathers. And I don't think it's just father and son. That's what they say, but it's just as good for father and daughter. And there, you know, a lot of guys don't get to have sons and they're stuck with a girl, but they still play catch with their dads. 6 million last night, the largest regular season audience since 2005 in Major League Baseball. Last year, there were 8 home runs between the White Sox and the Yankees at the Field of Dreams game. There was 0 last night going into the bottom of the 9th inning.
You got to be careful. That's why they're not having the Field of Dreams next year.
No, that's not why.
I know it's not why, but it's good that they don't. Because if you get, you know, what you got to do, you got to make a day like this, and it's turning out to be bigger and bigger. You don't have any other games. You just don't play any other games.
Clearly, it didn't. Why? Because all these other teams don't get...
It just makes it for a better day, and you pit 2 good teams against each other. Okay?
The Cubbies have a lot of fans, Leonard.
I know, but you pit 2 good teams. And
they had a good game.
White Sox and the Yankees, as you mentioned.
Drew Smiley, dude. The one that you... Lenny has this idea that, you know, don't take players that are only going to hurt you in trades. And he was under the impression that Drew Smiley was going to be one of those pitchers.
Yeah.
So the guy offered him Drew Smiley and
yeah, it was a Drew Smiley
and Max Fried.
And I turned down Drew Smiley.
She just said no thanks.
I said, keep Smiley. So I made a lot of mistakes this year on my own teams. I've helped a lot of players, but I've made a lot of mistakes on my own teams. So who knows about that?
So speaking of that, the trade deadline is coming up in fantasy, or if it's not already happened, which I think, according to your question, which is, would you trade with a contending team if you're not a contender this year?
That's a very good question.
In a redraft league, not a keeper league. Their rules are completely different in keeper and dynasty leagues.
Okay.
However, it is, if the trade, it's your last day of trading, you love to trade, whatever it is, you have an opportunity to fix up your team, but you can't contend. Are you still going to trade with teams that are contending? I would personally say, I don't think that's a good idea.
I say if you're not in contention, then why trade with teams that are contending?
Well, there is a reason why the trade deadline exists. And if it's before the trade deadline, then how can you say that they shouldn't do that?
Well, because if you're not in contention and you have nothing to gain, all you're doing is trading into a contending team and being part of determining what wins this year. It's not right.
Well, if you
how do I get my mouse to work? What the hell's going on here? Am I using the wrong mouse? I don't know. Just when you think, everything. You got a mouse, a mice.
Quit complaining.
I don't know. Just leave it. It doesn't matter.
I found it.
Oh, you did? Where is it?
Right there in the chat room.
In the chat room. Okay.
If you want to do something.
There you go. I just want to get this thing. I can't.
Just, you want to scroll up in the chat?
Yeah, I want to scroll up and see who's in the chat room.
Okay.
I can only see Big Al, Chris Gallo. I can see Data Premier, DK Lush, Eddie Heckman. Erwin Leminsky is in here, and that's as far as I go, okay? So, just can't.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. Okay. But here we go. On June 20th, you talk about, as we did at the beginning of the year, innings. All the innings. Everything with the innings. We didn't think that pitchers were going to throw 200 innings. And then on June 20th, Major League Baseball did something that hammered all 30 teams. They imposed a rule that placed a 13-pitcher limit on every team.
They were supposed to do that earlier in the season. So this started out with the COVID, and they had all of these bullpen guys. They were allowed all of these extra bullpen guys, 13 bullpen guys or more on their team. And they were supposed to change this earlier in the season, but all the teams were upset because they passed another rule that said that minor leaguers can only come up and go back down 5 times in a season. So they were saying, well, if they take away our pitching staff, then we're going to have to send more players back down, and it's going to waste one of our times to send the minor leaguers back down to the, and bring them back up. So they didn't want to waste it. So they extended it, and that's what we're at now. But it really needed to happen. This bullpen thing was getting out of control.
That's right, and and you had position players pitching because they didn't have enough pitchers. So
well, that's not going to help.
Yeah, that's not going to help at all. One of the other, Rod Carew made a statement the other day.
Several statements.
Rod Carew has been very outspoken. Andy, I know you read his statement. The bottom line is that he feels that the commissioner is not looking out for the best interests of the game.
He also backed that up by saying, of course he's not. He works for the owners. That's the first thing you need to know. This guy works for the ownership, and it's been made very clear that there's a very red line between the players and the owners. And he says that he's not looking out for the best interest of the game, and he's really not looking out for what fans want or what players deserve. So he says that here's the 2 problems. He tries to justify what they want as being great for everyone, and he's terrible at justifying it. He also said, how can you tell me the game's better when it looks like softball? When they're starting out with a second runner on second in extra innings when they're using 4 outfielders. And he talks about analytics a little bit. He says that analytics they're becoming so dominant that players don't know how to think for themselves. He says that he goes to spring training. He talks with a lot of players, specifically younger players, and they're learning all about exit velocity and launch angle, but they don't understand the nuances of the games. You know, like the things that make a difference between a winning team and a losing team.
And we've talked about that a lot in terms of dugout presence and presence in the locker room.
And he says that instead of trying to create well-rounded players, the teams are basically building robots designed to hit balls and throw hard. So the finer points of the sport are being downgraded to the point of being lost. And that's why games are longer, slower, and more boring. And he says he's been saying for a long time that they need to get rid of these blackouts because most Indiana people can't watch the Reds, the Cubs, or the White Sox. And in the Evansville area, you can't watch the Cardinals or the Reds. And Iowa doesn't have an MLB team, but we're blacked out in 6 different markets. And so they're blacking out these games for these people can't watch baseball.
That's right.
Their own favorite teams because, like he said, Iowa doesn't have a team, but they're blacked out in 6 markets, which means all the surrounding states are saying,
crazy,
you can't air this game.
That's crazy. And, of course, you take a look at, let's take a look at the Yankees. And Cashman, he sends down Clark Schmidt because Albert Abreu has no options. Now,
and then he loses 2 games in a row.
Yes.
Okay.
He loses.
And Schmidt, the guy they sent down,
18 up, 18 down, 11 strikeouts. So
at AAA, of course.
When you have to make a move like Cashman made, it wasn't based on who's better. It's based on something else. In this case, it was options, right?
So Dylan Cease.
Yes.
They were doing a little expose on Quick Pitch this morning about Dylan Cease, how he loves to go and make honey with his dad. He's got, everybody knows about his slider, but he even created a poem about his slider.
Okay.
And at the end of the poem, he says he wants to have apple trees that grow peaches.
Lots of luck for Dylan Cease.
Anyways, he's been crazy good.
Oh,
I think that Malpel just traded for this guy, which is unbelievable.
Good move.
But 14 games, he hasn't allowed more than 1 earned run. And, I mean, since over the last set of games, which goes back to, I'm not sure, maybe 11 or 12 consecutive starts, at least 5 inning pitch, 1 or few runs allowed. He already had the AL record, which was 8.
Yeah.
8 consecutive starts. And so no pitcher in 120 years of American League Baseball ever did it 9 straight games, and Cease now has 11 straight games, giving up 1 earned run or less, and did it again last night, by the way. He's got a .66 ERA in his last 14 starts.
That's right, the lowest posted by any American League pitcher in a 14-start span over 100 years. So, switching over to another Chicago pitcher, but not on the White Sox, and I wonder how many of you in the chat room, let me just finish saying hello to the chat room. Hello, everybody. Big Al and the Proud, Chris Gallo, Dad's the Premier, DK Lush, Eddie Heckman, Erwin Minsky, Jay Trella is back in the chat room. Good morning, Jay. Leonard Donaldson, Malpel, Marta, 123, Mitchell, Harston, Rotoria, Southpaw, Tommy Johnson, Unholy Toledo, Zelmo, and a cast of thousands in the chat room. Great to have you aboard. Now, the other Chicago pitcher. How many of you have Justin Steele? How many? We told you. Okay. I think it was you that brought up Justin Steele.
Right, I did.
But Justin Steele has been fantastic.
In his last 7 starts, he has an ERA under 2. His FIP is higher at a little under 3. But he struck out 28% of batters with a 51.5 ground ball rate, which puts him in a great situation if you're looking at ground balls plus strikeouts percentage. Malpel came up with that formula, and it really does, I think more than anything, it tells you who's about to break out. If they're above 70, when you add up the strikeout and ground ball percentage, that is a good pitcher waiting to break out.
You're listening to the Lady and the Legend, formerly on Sirius XM Satellite Radio, now on LennyMelnickFantasySports.com. So come on over. It is free.
Josh Hader.
Oh, how many people scratch their head?
Plug your ears, Malpal.
Critical. Oh, yeah, Malpal. He just traded for Hader. But how many people couldn't believe that Josh Hader was traded? And the moment he was traded to San Diego, we gave San Diego a playoff spot, which they may not get.
Not only did Hader get traded to Malpal's team on fantasy, but he got traded to Malpal's team at the Padres. So he's got two problems with Hader. The fact that this guy, he was relying on him in fantasy, and also the Padres are clearly relying on this guy. He was looking for his first save as a Padre, but he issued bases-loaded walks twice before giving up the tying run on a sacrifice fly. Is that 3 runs
It's
and
crazy.
2 of them based on bases-loaded walks?
He needed 37 pitches. He threw 19 strikes.
37 pitches to get through the inning.
Yeah, very shaky inning, all right?
So he didn't get the win he didn't get the loss clearly, but he did get the blown save.
Okay, and he's given up what?
4 runs through 7 innings in the second half of the season.
Unbelievable.
He's still 29 for 32 in save chances, but he's got a 4.66 and a 1.17 whip, 63 strikeouts and 15 walks through 36 innings. So he's not. His ERA is 4.66. I cannot emphasize that enough as a closer, how bad that is.
All right, let me ask you a question. What Toronto Blue Jay pitcher in Blue Jay history has the best strikeout to walk ratio?
Reality.
That's a good one.
Is that right?
No, but Halladay is second and third and fifth.
Oh, okay.
All right, David Wells is fourth. Halladay has put together 3 in the top 5, but the number 1 Toronto Blue Jay pitcher in history is Kevin Gausman. 6.85 ratio, a strikeout to walk ratio. How about that? Mm-hmm. Kyle Schwarber, if you didn't see it, he left Thursday afternoon's game with the Marlins. Mild right calf strain. He is currently day to day. And what about, I don't know.
34 home runs.
Yeah.
211 batting average, 69 RBIs, and 71 runs. Even has 6 stolen bases. But I know deep inside you're kind of happy about this.
What?
That because you traded Kyle Schwarber because Chris Bryant was coming off of the injured list, and then Kyle Schwarber just continued his June into July and August.
That's what he did.
So tell me, like deep down a little
Chris
evil.
Gallo also traded for Josh Hader. Come on, you guys. I forget.
Just tell me,
Yeah,
deep down inside, do you have a little evil piece of you?
Absolutely. When Schwarber was hitting home runs every single day, I was not freaking happy at all. Not at all. Now, what do you think? Now, I forget what your feelings are on Javier Baez.
Baez, I think that I have him on a couple teams this year because he dropped so far in the draft.
He was, at one time, one of my favorite fantasy players.
Now, but I've been critical of him for a long time.
Yes,
because
you have.
I've been drafting him for a long time. It actually took me several years of drafting him before I actually took a look at his strikeout percentage. And because his average is like 280, 279, it wasn't anything to even worry about until you glance at somebody brought it to my attention listening to a show or something. I look at his strikeout percentage and I say, there is nothing that can stop what's coming with this guy because eventually his strikeout percentage is going to cause major problems with his batting average and other things. He did hit a home, did he hit a home run or did he hit?
No, he made an error. His Major League Baseball leading 18th error of the season in the second inning.
All right, but he did hit a home
run.
He did hit a home run.
He did hit a home run?
Yeah.
He hit his 11th home run. Team leading.
I still take him over O'Neal Cruz just because he's got more experience. I don't know how that will be next year. It depends. He's only got 11 home runs.
I don't know, man.
Is he stealing bases by
No, he's not
That's
stealing.
the problem.
He made a sliding stop and throw in the 6th inning, so let's give him credit for that.
But he used to be great defensively.
Yep. He's got the potential physical skills of an all-star.
He's
But
29.
the execution consistency is the biggest disappointment. He cares. He tries. His strike zone discipline and arm accuracy are unsatisfactory.
Yeah, so last year he had 18 stolen bases and 5 caught stealing. He's always gotten caught stealing a good percentage of the time, so this is nothing abnormal that we saw last year, but now he's got 4 stolen bases and only 1 caught stealing, so he's only attempted all year so far in 402 plate appearances, 5 stolen bases. This is a huge part of his platform in fantasy.
And
if he can't,
Only Toledo was happy when the Cubs got rid of him.
yeah, why though? Wasn't he? Don't they have Javi? But I used to argue that they would not ever trade Javi Baez because they have Javi Baez way. It's a street over there.
They have the street, but they don't have the player. 6 relief pitchers for the Padres have thrown at least 62 games this year.
The famous Merrill Hartson is here in the house.
That's right, and the Dodgers have 2. So there's 6 relievers for San Diego have thrown at least 62 games. The Dodgers only have 2 to throw 62 games. How about
What does that say, though? What does that mean?
Well, it says San Diego using their bullpen very differently. The starters are not going the same way the San Diego starters are going, but that's what it means. What about Aaron Judge?
We already talked about this. He has 0 errors in the field, batting 300.
It's a phenomenal stat, so I'll talk about it again.
And he hasn't been caught stealing.
Homers. Now he's got, 45? Hitting over 300. No errors in 740 innings, and he's not been caught stealing. Well worth repeat. I know I said it maybe Wednesday.
No, I agree with you. He's having a fantastic year. He was a very big risk, in my opinion, going into the season. I think that's not really that arguable that he was a risk.
No, but he could be as good as Kenny Flammio. What do you think?
Nah.
How about Xander Bogaerts?
300th career double in the first inning last night. 4th shortstop with 300 doubles and 150 home runs within his first 10 seasons. You also have Hanley, Miguel Tejada, and...
Wait, let me... Yeah, I'm supposed to guess.
There's one other one. Which...
Well,
there's still one I
was going to say Nomar.
Well, that you just ruined it.
Why?
Because there's 3, and I already read Hanley and Miguel.
I ruined it. You read the other 2. So how am I ruining it?
Because you left the one that they could guess.
Well, that's the one I can guess. Not they. I was guessing it.
You
Hanley
can't guess
Ramirez,
it if it's right
Miguel
in front of
Tejada, no more Garcia Parra. Okay?
You don't need your headset today, by the way.
Oh, yes. I don't need my head. We're in a headset. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let me tell you something. My fellow...
Is that so you can't hear me?
My fellow chat room people, I am not in good shape.
What? No, you put those on so you didn't have to listen to me.
Let's talk about the Dodgers a little bit. A lot of stuff to talk about.
Pooey.
Since June 23rd, the Dodgers have outscored their opponents, 239 to 118.
They're actually winning. They actually are 33 and 32 when trailing.
Well, that's not, it doesn't sound like a lot, but they're the only team with a winning record in a situation where they were trailing.
Right.
I mean, teams come back, but they don't have a winning record overall. The Dodgers do. Yeah. A winning record, trailing.
Dodgers are 118 and 44 in their last 162 regular season games dating back to August 7th of last year. They're the first MLB team with that many wins in a 162-game stretch since Cleveland in 1954.
1954, Cleveland played the Giants. Bobby Avila at second, Carrascal at short, Al Rosen at third, Vic Wertz at first, Al Smith in the outfield. I forget who was the center fielder in Cleveland? Unholy Toledo. I forget.
In 1954? You remember everybody that was...
I just rattled off their whole infield. Jim Hegan was the catcher.
In our last house, we have all of these sports memorabilia. Lenny when I met him, he had a whole storage shed, a whole storage unit that was dedicated to just sports memorabilia.
It was crazy.
Our last house was much bigger than this one. But I spent weeks putting up all of these photos and autographs and flags and everything. We had a basketball wall, a hockey wall.
Greatest house ever. Greatest.
Yeah. And then Lenny would come home and he would say, Those are not in the right order. You have to put the outfielders next to each other in the order that they played.
Left field, center field, right field.
Who are the three specific ones?
Aaron, Mays, and Snyder.
And he made sure that I had Aaron on the left, Mays in the middle, and Snyder on the right.
That's what you do.
And I was just thinking, how am I going to do this? Because I don't know the depth charts.
Well, we get the left, right, and so. Where does Dennis Timko go? He just came into the chat room. Good morning.
He's there.
Dr. Timko. The Dodgers have won 10 straight games, all by multiple runs. It's their second longest streak of winning 10 or more games. They had a streak since 1890. And, of course, the Cleveland Guardians, I still can't call them Guardians. They now have sole possession of first place. The Twins are a game back. The White Sox 2.5. The White Sox. They're
2.5 games back. You're just so rude to them. You know, I was looking at a chart today of the teams that have held the sole lead in their American League. And the White Sox have done it like 4 times this season where they've held the sole lead in their division or in the American League.
Yes, it was Larry Doby. Thank you. We're good.
Okay, so we got Larry Doby and all the other guys you rattled off from 1954.
Let's talk about some...
but wait a minute. You need to be nicer to them.
I will. I predicted the White Sox would win the Central Division in the American League going away.
But you haven't been nice to them lately.
Well, the last time the White Sox scored a run in the first inning was 9 games ago. 9 games ago.
Right, but they have Yasmani Grandal. He's the 24th catcher in history to reach 175 career home runs. Him and Perez are the only active catchers that have done that. This was a league-leading 3rd time that the White Sox had the bases loaded, nobody out, and didn't score.
Right, the league average in that scenario was about 2.5 runs. So
you're upset that they don't score when the bases are loaded.
Bases loaded, nobody out. You don't score.
But Dylan Cease.
Well, Dylan Cease is unbelievable. The White Sox have not hit more than 1 home run in consecutive home games the entire season. All 29 other teams have done it.
I don't think that's bad.
Well, the White Sox with the bases loaded and 2 outs, they're 4 for 38. That's 30th in Major League Baseball.
But they've won 7 of 10 games this season when the game was tied to start the 7th.
Okay, I'll give them that. Jose Abreu, to me, the most consistent fan.
So hold on, this is a great tidbit. Can I say it?
Go ahead, you can
After
say
you compliment Abreu.
Yeah, I do. I compliment Abreu. He's got
more home runs
and RBIs in the 2020 season, which was 60 games, than anyone in the White Sox has after 112 games this year.
Yeah, that's a good tidbit.
White Sox not doing good.
So that means that is including him. That's including him. So he's not hitting home runs either.
Nobody is. Nothing doing. And
705 of the White Sox first 1,000 hits this year were singles.
Singles. That's 700 hits out of the first 1,000 was singles.
Just remind you that they finally have their team back together.
Okay, let's see what they've done now. In 2020, in 60 games, the White Sox hit 96 home runs. After 111 games,
they've hit 96
They've hit 96 home runs.
Yeah.
Pretty unbelievable. And their record, in 70 games, 35-35. 80 games, 40-40. 100 games, 50-50. This is just so far, they're just a 500 team. That doesn't win you anything.
In the last 120 games, they're 60-60.
Yep.
In the last 100 games, they're 50-50. I know you just said this, but it
takes a little while to sink in.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Most home runs in a team's first 112 games of a season.
Was Barry Bonds. That's easy.
47 homers in the first 112 games.
Yeah.
But look at Judge.
Judge has 45. Babe Ruth had 46. Aaron Judge, what?
Not even Mark McGwire could beat Aaron Judge.
All right, Kenny Flamier writes a plethora of baseball knowledge. What does plethora mean?
It means a lot.
Is it spelled P-L-U or P-L-E?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
You know what he meant.
Get your spelling right, Flammy. I'm just kidding.
Are you
Thank
really
you.
going to do that? Because you have the worst spelling in the whole
I
world?
have the worst spelling in the whole world.
That's mostly because you're trying to type so fast and post your comments that your little fat fingers hit the wrong
You
key.
still happy with the Mariners season?
I think you're a good speller, Leonard. It's mostly mechanical error that caused you to spell
Thank you,
bad.
right? I have a lot of mechanical errors, all right? What about the Mariners?
Okay. The Mariners, 13 innings, allowed only 3 total bases.
That was against the Yankees the other night. What an unbelievable 13 innings. They allowed only 3 total bases.
I got some notes on this. I have to go back to my notes.
All right.
I usually read his notes off of his big
Well,
screen.
no, you don't read any notes. We know all this shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
We know it. Louis Castillo.
Forget it. Look at Seattle in second place.
Yeah.
And they're in second place in the American League West, and they've won the last 10 in a row. Their streak is 13 games straight for the Mariners right now. You hear what I'm saying? And Luis Castillo, since he's been a Mariner, 14 2/3 inning pitched, 8 hits allowed, 3 earned runs, 15 strikeouts, and a 1.84 ERA. Luis Castillo, I mean, he's a game changer.
And 3 starts against the Yankees this year. He's got a 1.66 ERA in 21 innings, 10 hits, only given up 4 earned runs, 1 home run, and he has struck out 23 with a whip of 0.88.
So he crushes the Yankees, but not only that, he pretty much crushes everybody, especially since he moved to Seattle. He's only had 2 starts there, but if this trend continues, I would say... I mean, only one of those starts was in Seattle, a pitcher's ballpark. The other one was away, and he didn't do that good. He had a 4.05 ERA in his second start, so he pitched a gem the first start at home in Seattle, and then traveled away and didn't do so great. But he's still.
And Marilyn Mitchell are sitting in the chat room with their arms around each other. Come on, you guys, that's the way to do it. Nothing like family.
The last time the Yankees won... last time the Yankees lost more games in Seattle than they won was back in 2008.
Okay. And now what about the Astros and the Yankees? They're tied for the best record, or they're close to it. And on June 18th, the Yankees had a 9-game lead over the Astros. You think the Yankees are folding? Since then, the Yankees are 22-24. The Astros are 31-15.
It's not going great for the Yankees.
What do you think is going to happen with the Yankees?
I hope Aroldis Chapman decides to learn how to pitch again.
You think so?
I still am hoping for that.
Wow.
Except for, does he have a new injury?
Aroldis? No, he's just not the same Aroldis. But Jordan Alvarez is on pace to hit 40 home runs.
Big deal. Okay. Aaron Judge already passed him up. So anybody, come on.
Justin Verlander's on the pace to win 20 games.
Yes.
No team in Major League Baseball history has had a batter with 40 home runs and a pitcher with 20 wins and a sub-2 ERA in the same. Let me say that again.
It's not that great.
It is great because I didn't think that this is true. Verlander, 185 ERA, on pace to reach 20 wins. No team in Major League Baseball history has had a batter, Jordan Alvarez, 40 home runs, a 1.0 OPS, and a pitcher with 20 wins and a sub-200 ERA. That is phenomenal.
Well, too bad the teams aren't made up of 2 players.
But still, they can carry, unlike basketball or maybe even hockey, one player doesn't make a difference, especially in baseball. But when you talk
about...
Does
LeBron James make a difference?
Yes, he does. I said basketball.
Oh.
Maybe hockey. A running back in football, I don't believe a running back in football can be any good without a good line. But still...
Or a quarterback.
In baseball, even a quarterback. But in baseball, you put together a Jordan Alvarez and a Verlander season, wow. And how about, does anybody in the chat room have J.T. Brubaker? J.T. Brubaker, a Pittsburgh Pirate.
He was supposed to be good last year. I remember having a Pittsburgh Pirate beat writer on who was talking about Brubaker.
Where's Mr. Potato Head in the chat room? Okay.
He said that he was going to see some friends and they don't really like sports. So
he became the first National League pitcher to go 25 consecutive road starts without a win. How about that?
Poor guy.
All right, what else you got for the Mariners?
I already said that one.
How
How about Ty France?
How about Ty France?
It says 43 home run players born in France.
Yeah, 30.
Oh, Ty
yeah.
France has 43 home runs. And
No. There have been 43 home run players born in France. Okay?
You're reading it wrong.
43.
Because 31. Who gets that one?
France has 31. Okay? Something like that. But it's the first time France started the game with a batting average under 300. Has Ty France, in your opinion, been the most underrated fantasy player in all the drafts this year?
Yeah, I mean, and the tidbit that you just gave said, this is the first time that he started a game this season with a batting average under 300 since April 20th. And I went and looked at his last 13 games, and he's been hitting 255. But he still got 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and I just think that setting the bar at 300, who hits 300? There's probably 5 or 6 players in baseball that hit that high.
All right, Kenny Flammia wants to know if we're both online, who's cooking breakfast?
I know.
That's a good one.
I do that on my off time.
That's right. She does that on her off time. And, of course, Seattle, league-leading 26th one-run win this season.
They're very good at winning games by 1 run. Last year, they were doing it the same thing, and you said that was going to even out.
I think it will. The last team to lead the major leagues in consecutive seasons, 1-run wins.
Was Seattle last year.
1897 and 1898.
Last year, Seattle
2
led.
consecutive seasons. This season's not over yet.
Okay.
Right, you think the Phillies are going to make the playoffs?
Well, they spent more money on this team than any of the previous 139 teams in franchise history. And they haven't played in a postseason game since 2011. Jimmy Rollins was on talking about why are there so many empty seats for the Phillies?
Yeah, right.
And people would say, okay, well, the reason is because they haven't been to a postseason game for over 10 years. But they did spend a bunch of money on this team, and I would say again last night, they were on a 7 or something game winning streak.
Will they play better when Bryce Harper comes back,
Yes.
or will they peak as so many times you see?
Why isn't he back yet?
And this is what happened with the Phillies.
Or is
When
he
your
not supposed
star player is lost, everybody steps up to do better. But when the star player comes back, a lot of players tend to relax.
Well, there's no doubt that Harper has better defense than the majority of the players in Philly. Even
Okay.
though when he was not feeling good, they had him at DH. So whether he comes back to play in the outfield, that's who knows if that will happen. I don't even know where he's at. I thought he was coming back in August.
And it's about what Rod Carew said. It's not just what you do in your in the batting average. It's defense. It's clubhouse. It's everything you do. How much you hustle. Everything matters for a team, and that's baseball. Have you seen Vaughn Grissom?
I looked him up today, actually.
Yeah.
Number 1 ranked prospect for the Braves. He's now up in the majors. He's played 1 game now, batting .500, 2 RBIs, and a home run.
Stolen base, too.
And a steal.
Yep.
So
Keep an eye on this
absolutely,
kid. He's 21 years old.
Where's he going to play? They have Marcelo Zuna at designated hitter. And, I mean, according to RotoWire, he can play second, third, and shortstop, but he's not at the top of the food chain. However, Orlando Arcia is hurt right now, so I assume he'll be playing second base, Vaughn Grissom, for the Braves. When Orlando Arcia is healthy again, they might send him back down.
Yep. So a lot of it has to do with...
Who knows? It depends on how
Ozzie
good
Albies.
he is. He has an opportunity to make his way into the permanent lineup right now, and I hope he does it. It's great, Vaughn Grissom.
The lady brings out the best...
Grissom. Not Grisham. I said
It's
Grisham.
been said in the chat room that the lady brings out the best in the legend.
Well, last week they told me I was picking on you,
Yeah.
to quit picking on you.
Shohei Ohtani.
Do I pick on you, Lenny?
Yes. 5 strikeouts. 157 pitching strikeouts this season. He passed himself for the most in a season by a player to hit 25 home runs.
Yeah, because he passed up Babe Ruth already.
Yep.
Now he passed up himself.
Now in F4,
And he's got the rest of the season to go.
top 5 players in F4, position players.
That's Fangraphs.
Yeah,
I love what's going on here with, of course, Aaron Judge is number one.
Of course.
But my two faves, Arenado and Goldie, who you guys pretty much wrote off as
right.
past.
Yep. When they were traded, when Arenado was traded from Colorado, we said bye-bye.
You did.
I never did.
You said his numbers would not be good in
I said
St.
they
Louis.
won't be the same. I didn't say they wouldn't be good.
I remember having you and Steve Gardner debate me this on the Lady and the Legend
All right,
show.
So you won that debate.
And
what
I
about
did.
you know
And
fourth?
Macho.
Francisco Lindor is 4th in F4.
And then
How about
guess
that?
who else? Macho Man.
And then Manny
Macho Man.
Jared Kalenic.
He's horrible.
He is worse. You know how the Mets got criticized for trading Kalenic, and all they got part of the deal was Edwin Diaz. Okay,
Well, finally the Mets made a great trade.
And since getting called up, 27 plate appearances, no walks, 0.74 on base percentage, 0.74 batting average,
40% strikeout rate.
So what do you think about Jared Kalenic?
He got sent back down.
Have you made up your mind about Jared Kalenic?
Well, the Mariners did, because like I said, they sent him back down yesterday again.
In all the years that I've been watching, talking about Jared Kalenic, the brothers, Edwin and Alexis Diaz.
2 pitchers, right?
And their brothers, 166 ERA, 87 innings combined. A 149 batting average combined. How about that one? Okay.
Why are you going backwards?
Because I want to know.
Chandler Redmond.
Wait
I
a
didn't
second.
even find him in the RotoWire.
Have you ever heard of the home run cycle? This is something that I've never heard of until yesterday.
I never heard of this in my life.
Chandler Redmond mashed his way into baseball history.
But he doesn't have a page at RotoWire.
Because he's in the minors.
So what? A lot of minor leaguers have pages.
He had a solo 2-run homer, a 3-run homer, and a grand slam homer.
4 homers.
That's the rarest milestone in baseball history.
Hold on a minute. There's 4 homers.
It's called
in one game.
Yep.
And this was a game that also made history because I think that his team, if you think about it, he scored a 2-run, a solo, a 3, okay. 1 home run solo, 1 2-run home run, a 3-run home run, and a grand slam. And they scored like 20 runs in this game, and I would say half of them came just from those 4 homers.
If you look in the chat room, you'll see the day that we missed. We missed with Eddie and Mitchell, and who else is there?
Look at the tables.
Who else is there? Minsky and Stardog, right? Unbelievable. Great stuff.
Yes, that's wonderful.
Chandler Redmond.
That's so
now,
nice.
In talking about the good stuff of the Mets,
I'm sick and tired of not getting to go to Baltimore.
We'll go. What about Pete Alonso?
He's reached base safely in 16 of his 17 plate appearances against left-handed pitchers since the All-Star break. That's a 941 on-base percentage. Okay, so basically you should always put Pete Alonso in your roster when you should always put him in there anyway. Which, this thing about lefties, I learned on Quick Pitch.
Yes.
Alex Bregman, everybody loves him. I don't think he's as good of a hitter as he portrayed himself to be.
Right.
But he certainly can't hit lefties. His batting average is like 172 against lefties this season. And it's really good against righties. So that's for your DFS notebook.
Okay, you remember the first time we were in Binghamton?
Yes, I do.
And we saw Dominic Smith?
Oh, jeez.
Right?
Yes,
remember what I said?
Remember. You were the first one at the gates when it opened.
Remember what I said? Dominic Smith.
He looks like a ball player.
No, the opposite. I said Rosario
How
looks
am I
like
supposed to remember every player?
Because you have to. You're with me. Remember that?
Well, you'll remind me if I forget.
Dominic Smith went from the 10-day injured list to the
you know why he's back?
AAA again.
Do you know why he's back on the injured list?
Why?
He's got mental, emotional problems.
Yes, he does. He, of all people, has to be traded. He's hit in the big leagues 194. He's only had 152 plate appearances. That's not good. Dominic Smith, not
Yeah,
good.
maybe that's why he has emotional problems, because he's not good.
It's going to be a great off season, and I'll tell you why. One of the things about Major League Baseball and trading is the qualifying offer.
Qualifying offer. They didn't reach an agreement this year.
Well, and here's the thing.
So it's going to be the same as last year then, right?
The qualifying offer will impact some, but not all big names in this year's free agent market. The qualifying offer can only be used by certain players.
And they can only be used one time in their career.
That's right. And there's a ton. Too many for me to mention.
Wait, so the player has to have spent the entire 2022 season with his current organization and cannot have received a qualifying offer in any past trips to free agency. I think this, basically the point is they didn't come to an agreement, so the same as last year will kick in. Mm-hmm. The money will be different based on how much, based on what?
Based on the fact that
what the average salary is?
Yeah.
No, but last year was like 18
but
million.
Still, they don't have to have without a qualifying offer, it makes it a lot easier
to get rid of them.
Now, let's just go.
Edward Cabrera. Okay, we're doing the Phillies game.
Zip through the game. Edward Cabrera, who I thought was going to be spectacular. Once again, I drafted him, and then I cut him, and then he came back to pitch a shutout.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Pitched good into the sixth inning. Edward Cabrera is a pitcher. He struck out 6 and walked 2 5 2/3. Pick up Edward Cabrera.
Now, who was the catcher? Who was the guy? Somebody. Brandon Marsh had to go in and pinch run for somebody who I believe twisted their ankle really pretty bad, the catcher, and then came back in the game.
Who was it? Remuto?
I'm not sure. No, it wasn't.
I don't
might
know.
be
You're
confused.
coming up with stuff that
I'm
I
just
don't
making,
even know. You're making up shit. The Phillies hold the second NL wildcard spot. So look out.
You make up shit all the time.
We're zipping through this. The Phillies, by the way, they're 15th. And you talk about
You want to talk about the errors for a
they're
second?
They're 15th in attendance.
Okay, they're 15th in attendance, but
yes.
We did see Jimmy Rollins come out and say, why is nobody going to the game?
Right.
Well, Rhys Hoskins, error, failed to scoop up a routine grounder. And then 2 batters later, Gene Segura, he couldn't see the ball. I'll give him some credit.
Yeah.
I watched that play happen. He didn't see the ball. Well, you can't if the sun is shining right in your eyes. So that went through, giving Miami another boost. But Joey Wendell, you can always rely on Joey Wendell, Leonard.
Fantastic.
I know you want to hurry up.
Cleveland and Detroit. Rookie Oscar Gonzalez got the go-ahead run in. Cleveland extending their winning streak to 5 games, beating Detroit. Brian Shaw got his first save of the season. Remember Brian Shaw?
Yes, I do.
Used to be somebody we drafted. Zach Plesac limited Detroit to 1 run, 4 hits. Stephen Kwan hit a solo homer. And Javier Baez hit his 11th homer.
The Tigers have lost 4 straight and 10 of the last 12. Their batters struck out 14 times. The Guardians' batters only struck out twice. And just an injury update here, an Achilles strain for Austin Meadows. He had 2 hits and 2 RBIs and 6 at-bats at AAA Toledo on Wednesday. He's expected to continue the rehab assignment for at least another week. And then Michael Pineda, if you're still relying on him, he's going to begin a rehab assignment at Toledo. Unholy Toledo.
Austin Meadows could be among the most disappointing players this season. Zach Greinke was in trouble, but he held Chicago scoreless into the 7th inning. Kansas City beat Dylan Cease and the White Sox.
And Pasquantino had another homer.
Oh, yep, that's right.
Royals won back-to-back 4-game series for the first time since 2014.
Zach Barlow gave up a home run to Andrew Vaughn, but got his 18th.
Scott Barlow looked... Okay, both of my closers looked good yesterday.
18th
I had
save.
Bard and Barlow on one team. Bard, I think, was Colorado playing the St. Louis Cardinals?
Yeah, Colorado.
Bard
We'll
just
get to that in a second.
struck out Arenado looking.
We'll
it was
get
wonderful.
to that in a second. You're skipping the beat here.
Too bad.
A.J. Pollock, who's been on a tear, held out of the lineup. He fouled
Because he's hurt
and he
again.
fouled the ball off his head.
What's new? He's hurt again.
Texas and the Astros, after moving to a 1.5 game lead of the slumping Yankees for the American League's best record. Wow.
Texas Astros.
With Framber Valdez, 7 shutout innings.
Yeah. 4 singles, struck out 8. Third straight win. The Astros are 72-41.
But most important, it was Framber Valdez's 19th straight quality start, longest in the majors.
And Yuli Gurriel entered the game in an 0-for-12 slump. He matched a season high, had 3 hits. That's pretty bad season high, but okay. Going to St. Louis and Colorado.
And here's your Colorado game.
I'm always rooting for St. Louis.
Go ahead.
Okay. Brendan Rodgers and Ryan McMahon both hit back-to-back home runs. So it was a 6-run 7th inning last night between the Rockies and the Cardinals. But the Rockies won this game, and I will say Daniel Bard just blew past by Arenado. He didn't even see what was coming. He didn't swing. He just stood there, and it was just right down the middle. So,
but he loaded the bases with 1 out in the ninth.
And he was so close to getting the runners. I know that.
And how about Dakota Hudson? He allowed 4 hits and 4 walks in 5 innings. Not a great performance.
Goldschmidt has the best batting average in the National League.
And Chris Bryant is still in a walking boot. I predict Chris Bryant will not steal a base in the next 2 weeks.
What about plantar fasciitis? You know who else has this?
Who else has
Albert
it?
Pujols has this.
Oh, that's true.
And it's very painful.
Jack Flaherty allowed 4 runs, 3 earned, through 35 pitches in a rehab assignment.
It's not something that ever goes away completely either.
Okay.
Plantar fasciitis.
Have you ever had it?
No, Leonard.
So then it went away.
So if I didn't have something, then I'm not qualified to know about it?
Emmanuel Rivera homered, hit a 2-run double in the 7th inning. I don't think he's right. But Kevin Ginkel
Yay!
got his first win since Andrea touted him in 2019. Right?
All kinds of players that I've been touting for years all of a sudden came through. Like, look at John Birdie, dude.
Ginkel,
look at John Birdie.
Birdie's done well.
Wendell doing great, even though he
Wendell
transferred
doing
to a
great.
horrible ballpark for a hitter.
Bryce Wilson,
And
who's
finally, dude, I'm always just a year or two
what
ahead.
are you picking off me?
I'm pulling hairs off of you.
Okay. Bryce Wilson has gone 2-2 with a 3-year ERA and 6 starts since being called up. You may want to jump on Bryce Wilson.
What about Emmanuel Rivera in Pittsburgh? We're down to Baltimore, Boston already?
Baltimore, Eric Hosmer hit a go-ahead double in the
Eric
6th.
Hosmer.
Red Sox
Holy
win 4-3 over the Eddie Heckmans. Okay.
I was very disappointed to see the Orioles lose. They should have won that game.
Well, they're not going to win every game.
Yes, I know.
Matt Barnes pitched a squirrel. Who's going to be the closer in Boston? Somebody.
Who was it yesterday?
Hilly, forget his first name, asked me who's the closer. I said I have a feeling it's going to be Jared Familiar. But yeah, Matt Barnes pitched a scoreless 7th. He's allowed 2 hits in his last 3 1/3 innings. It could be Matt Barnes, right? Now Uvalde
Was it
starts.
Nick Vespi that got it?
I don't know who got it. Drew Smiley
Well, if he...
pitched well. We told you about that.
No, Matt Barnes threw a scoreless 7th. It was a scoreless 7th. So this guy, Vespi, if you're looking for a closer, it looked good yesterday. I'm not saying that he's... Was that who it is?
No, I say Familia.
Nick Vespi.
Nick Vesky.
That's who pitched. Somebody got a save last night.
It was, yeah, I think Vespi. Anyway, Smiley improved to 3-1 with a
Plug your ears, Leonard.
2.49 in his last. Wow. Rowan Wick got the save.
Are
If
you
follow
hot,
what I'm
Leonard?
saying. Yeah, I'm getting hot. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen,
Is that it?
that just about does it. Let me say sincere thanks. Look at everybody who has stuck with us. Unbelievable. Big Al on the prowl. Chris Gallo. Data Premier. Dennis Timko. Aiden Timko. Dr. Timko. DK Lush. Eddie Heckman. Erwin Minsky. Kenny Flamier. Leonard Donaldson. Mal Powell. Mitchell and Merrill. They're still together. Rotorius on Oli Toledo.
And there's Potato Pete. He was able to come.
White Sox Gal. And Potato Pete has made it into the chat room. Nice to see you. Guest Potato Pete. Thank you, everybody. And we will see you again on Monday. Love you all. and we sincerely thank you.